So today's topic of discussion is not really anything too serious. It's kind of a fun little topic, and with a little bit of tragedy in it, but and we'll explain later. What's today's topic?
No clue.
Claim to fame. What's your claim to fame? So, if you guys have been following Natalie for a while, in her, I guess her long intro story, she kind of tells you her claim to fame. But instead of talking about that right this second, have you ever met any famous people or anything? Singers, actors?
Nope.
Artists?
Nope.
Well, thing is, we're in the area we're in, it's not like we're in Hollywood, California or Beverly Hills where you probably, normal everyday citizens probably randomly see actors and singers just driving, Hollywood Boulevard or wherever it is. But I guarantee you we've probably ran across people and not knew who they were, like at the Oaks Mall or something like that, and they're dressed down and they don't have their makeup on, they put a hat over their eyes. And so as far as me personally, I've met two famous people. You can guess one of them, right? Considering what's the one that was famous all over Gainesville and Newberry and Archerno?
Tom Petty.
No, I've never met Tom Petty. I wish I did. Bo Diddley, he has his own park and all there, or he used to.
Oh, I've been to his house.
Wow. So I met Bo Diddley twice, but he has affiliation with some of my family members. Uncle Danny, he used to sell furniture to him. That's how they met, and he ended up going to his house and becoming friends. And his daughter's uncle, which isn't my uncle, which is also named Danny, run Echo One recording studios, and I guess he recorded a lot of his music there, which is probably never going to be released for copyright reasons, or maybe because of the family stuff, family possibly fights and disagreements after they die. So he's been dead a while, and probably no easy way to legally distribute a rock star's music or whatever, especially without having money and lawyers and all that to make sure everything is done right. So the second person is, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it, so I'll say the United Color League Baseball League guy named AJ Jackson, which he lives in Gainesville. I guess he's still alive. That too was he was best friends with my Uncle Danny, and we hung out, we met him. He went to my grandmother's funeral. So yeah, he wasn't really famous when I met him. He was long retired, and he had become a automobile body tech or whatever, painting cars and stuff until he retired. So for anyone that hasn't followed Natalie's story, what is your second-hand claim to fame?
But so okay. My papa he built his own helicopter, probably back in the 70s, maybe 80s, I guess. And up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, he used to fly a lot of famous people, I don't know who, but a lot. And he used to fly Dolly Parton. So one time, and I don't even know if this is completely factual because I was a little kid, but something happened to where I was supposed to go Dollywood or something. I don't quite remember the story. But I ended up getting sick and didn't get to go. And my papa brought me a pair of butterfly earrings, supposedly for Dolly Parton, for me. So that's my big secondhand claim to fame.
So, yeah, so one of my, I'll tell this story. I don't know, it might be a long story, but when I was in elementary school, there was a lady there named Miss Margaret Wadsworth.
A teacher?
She was like a teacher's aide. She went to like almost all the classes, if I remember right. Her official title was paraprofessional, which I guess that was a degree or something, you know, in a university or whatever. But you know, she always came to, and I don't remember if it was from kindergarten through 6th or when she started coming. Might have been 1st grade, 2nd grade. But I remember her throughout my entire stay, you know, until I got out of elementary school. And when I say 6th grade, we originally had 8th grade at our elementary school, so, and then they voted it down to 7th grade, then 6th grade, and yada yada. So at one time you didn't even go, you went from elementary school to high school instead of going to middle school. Miss Wadsworth was an amazing woman, I would say, but she was probably my favorite person at the entire school. You know, that counts all the teachers, principals, whatever, you know, teachers' aides, librarian, all that stuff. So she was always nice, always friendly, and she passed away on the 17th of June, so that wasn't long ago, and they actually buried her on the 20th, I believe, or she had some kind of memorial service. And this might not sound, you know, who's Miss Wadsworth? Is she famous? No. Her son, Jerry Wadsworth Jr., was a bus driver for a lot of the rock stars and stuff, and I can't tell you all of them firsthand, but one of them I can tell you about is a story. It was probably between 1988 and 1990. I can't remember exactly when. He was driving for the band Poison. Do you know who Poison is?
No, I've heard of them, yeah.
You've heard of them, like C.C. DeVille and Randy Dall and Ricky Rocket and Bret Michaels, which everybody knows that from that MTV or VH1, you know, rock, whatever it's called, where it's like a dating reality show or something with Bret Michaels. Yeah, so he was driving for Poison, and one day she told us that she was going to go to the Poison concert in Orlando, and that her son, Jerry Wadsworth Jr., was driving them to the show. What I didn't know at the time is that they were staying at her house, which was, of course, you don't want people to know, or everybody's going to show up at your house and the newspapers and media. So instead of going to a hotel where you'd be followed by paparazzi or whatever, why not stay somewhere where no one, I mean, this is a rural area, right? No one's going to come to an area like this thinking they're going to meet a rock star or take pictures and video of a rock star, right? So I asked her if we could get some autographed photos. She said sure. So after the Orlando concert, she got, and you know, a few other classmates and all requested them. There was probably 5 or 7 people that wanted autographs. You know, the rest of the class probably didn't even know who Poison was. I said, can I get ones with all the tattoos and everything? I already knew one of them. I don't remember if it was CC or what, had like a naughty, it's like boobs or something. And I was thinking, can I get one with the tattoos and all on it? You know, which would kind of be inappropriate, I guess, for a elementary school student. But she said, sure. obviously that didn't happen. She brought some like 8x10s or 8.5x11s or whatever that did not have those like tattoos on them, but it was still cool. The whole band autographed all of them for everybody, you know, in the class. And we got to tour their actual bus. She had her son bring the bus to our school, and we got to go in the Poison tour bus, which was awesome, you know. And remember, we're in a rural area. We're not in Hollywood. We don't get to see things that probably are offered to people where famous people just generally, you know, live. Yeah. So, and we do have a famous person from here, and she mentioned him earlier, right? Kind of in the area. And Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and you know, Gainesville's Son, whatever. And what's the other band that's from like the 90s or 2000s?
Not only in the moment.
Hootie, you got a new home now.
Yeah, come on, Hootie.
Sister Hazel?
Sister Hazel.
Yeah, Sister Hazel is from this area. So,
and my parents knew the actual Sister Hazel. They used to work with her in the ministry for the homeless. Feeding the homeless every day. Them. And who else was out there? I think Paige back from Channel 20 News. But I never met any of them, but my parents did.
Well, if we talk about like local celebrities that really aren't like celebrities elsewhere, you're friends with one of the TV 20 people. What's his name? Lundgren, something like that. That guy that did your TV 20 interview.
Yeah, I don't even think he's
You're friends with him. He's probably watching now, and you can't even remember his name.
I don't think he's at TV 20 anymore.
Oh, really? And then the lady that did the Paul's on Parole program, what's her name? See, I can't remember names worth of crap either. So
I can see her face.
Yeah, I mean, I was buddies with her and kind of volunteered with her too. So she was a local celebrity, and anybody in Gainesville would have known who she was if she was seen. And I'm sure she was forced to retire for some reason. She lost a leg or something, and was in like a hospital and rehab place for a long time. And I think she's just recently got like an apartment or something. We had to think a minute. It was Hillary Hines, which I'm sure she's not watching this, but if you are, there's a shout out. Hi, Hillary. So when I used to talk, you know, in PE a lot to Miss Wadsworth, she'd just sit on the had little benches that were built around the pine trees. You know, I don't know if your school or anything had that, so a pine tree, and it would be like a sitting bench around it, like a triangle or a circle or something. She used to come out in PE and just sit and talk, and she, like I said, she would talk about anything. And because I knew that her son was a bus driver for famous people, you know, I remember her conveying a story that not her son, but another bus driver had gotten arrested for letting an underage girl on a 2 Live Crew tour. And you know who 2 Live Crew is, right? They had, I guess, did like sex acts and all kinds of stuff on stage, and they were very provocative, and lawsuits and all, you know, I guess record stores were being raided by the police, you know, for indecency and stuff like that, just because they carried their records and stuff like that. So, but I honestly can't tell you firsthand that I remember who else that she drove for besides or that Jerry drove for besides Poison, but I read on some comments that she drove for Winona Judd and some other people, and apparently she obviously knew Bob Seger and Tom, I think his name's Weidel, the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers spokesperson or whatever, you know, since Tom Petty passed away. So there were some tributes and stuff from them, and yeah, so I forgot another story too. Is my brother is a doctor, and he's a musician by hobby, by second trade or whatever. And he used to do a morning show, I think Chattanooga, Tennessee, or Ringo, Georgia, or something. And he used to sing. Now, I mean, he was just a local famous, but he used to live by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. You know, I can't tell you if they all lived in the same house, but somebody from the band lived, you know, a couple houses over in Ringo, Georgia, on like a hill up there, and they used to like do music and all that stuff. So I couldn't tell you one song from Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. All I can tell you is I know that they're an old famous band. Which, what is it? Is it country, or do you know, or kind of rockabilly? I don't know. See, people know they're famous, you know, but they just don't know anything they've done, you know. So if you could meet any celebrity, singer, artist, whatever, who would you want to meet?
Maybe Adele.
Adele? And she listens to Adele all the time, so if the same question was asked to me, I really don't know.
Ozzy Osbourne.
No, you know, as a musician and an artist, I think he's like awesome, but I don't know how a conversation would go with Ozzy. You know, he's crazy, and he cusses all, you know, every and mumbles, and you know, I don't know if you could carry on a conversation with him, you know, unless you're like snorting coke or something. But you know, one of my biggest regrets is not ever seeing a Black Sabbath or Ozzy concert. You know, I haven't been a big concert person, but when they went to like Tallahassee or Tampa or something, that's just too far for me to go. And nowadays ticket prices are just through the roof, you know. I missed the chance to go to like Rolling Stones, you know, 30 years ago when tickets were affordable, and don't really regret it, but it would have been nice to see them. What are some of the concerts that you've been to? Famous people.
I've been to Matchbox 20. And Counting Crows. I've seen, what is it, Snoop? I want to say it was Snoop.
Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
Really?
Came to the O'Connells, and they're like, for the 4th of July. Snoop and someone else, or maybe it wasn't Snoop, I don't know, one of the big rappers. And I've seen him. I've seen a whole lot of Christian bands that I can't even name, because, like, when I was younger, we did, like, the Night of Joy and those kind of Disney World. I think that's about it. Huh?
So, as I said, I haven't really gone to concerts. I hate the lines, the crowds, and now it's just too expensive to go. But I've been to Beach Boys twice. You know, I've been to Kenny Rogers. I think I went to a Loretta Lynn concert, you know, a long time ago with my dad, and I'm not a big fan of hers or anything, but it's just I tagged along, you know, when she was putting on a concert nearby. And is that it? That's probably it. And the first Beach Boys concert, I was young, so it was probably like 80 or 81. Then the last one was when they went to Silver Springs the last time, which is I don't know when that was. That's before I met you, right? So yeah. Did Danny go? No, Danny didn't go. But I'd have to figure out what his name was. Brian wasn't in the band. He had his own kind of band, and I think Beach Boys at this time had 3 different bands. So, what is his name? Anyway, he made a joke about women in service or something like that, and he was joking about women in bikinis, not women in actual military service. So a bunch of people, after he made this joke, just stood up and they walked out of the concert. You know, it done pissed, and I could just see that they pissed a bunch of like veterans, you know, probably from Vietnam or something off, and they stormed out of the concert, you know, pissed off. So that was kind of my experience with the Beach Boys' second concert. But they had to play a lot of medleys because they only had so much time. So I guess they were used to, say, you know, a 5-minute song would be like 7 or 10 songs all put together, you know, just to get the time allotment they needed or whatever. But I seen Kenny Rogers at the same venue, and it wasn't that he was off his game, but the sound system was horrible. It wasn't loud enough. Everybody was complaining about they couldn't hear him sing. He was trying to interact with the crowd, saying, what are you saying? And I guess he couldn't understand what the crowd was shouting. And it was just, unless you were in that front row with the special tickets or whatever, you didn't have a good experience because you couldn't hear him singing. So, and he's passed away, obviously. What was that, last year? Somewhere. So, that's our claim to fame, our secondhand claim to fame. And, you know, just in case any of the family of Miss Wadsworth happens upon this video, you know, Natalie didn't know her, but she was a well-loved and respected woman, and everybody loved her, including me. And anytime, you know, she seen like my mom or anything out about going through town, she'd ask about me, you know. And, you know, my mom would say, hey, I seen Miss Wadsworth, she was asking about you. And, you know, this is 30 years later, and yeah, so I'm sure this video is really long, but that's good enough.
Like this video and subscribe to my channel.